Hi, my name is Chloe if you're new to this channel, and today I'm going to be talking about how I got a 5 on the AP 2D art portfolio. But seriously, hey, my mom told me I shouldn't say that I wasn't expecting this score, but I really wasn't expecting this score considering the amount of mistakes that I made during the process. But overall, I'm very proud of what I got, and today I'll be sharing my portfolio, which I'll probably put somewhere on the screen while I'm talking. I'll also be highlighting the mistakes that I made and how you can avoid them if you're taking an AP art class next year. This is not my computer, it's my mom's, but I'll be using it to walk you through my portfolio. So if I do figure out how to edit this into iMovie, the portfolio will be on the left-hand side of the screen, I'd like to say, while I'm reading it off of my laptop. Work 1. Notice that there's no title for any of these pieces because they don't require a title for your AP portfolio. If you were to come up with a title, you can't actually put it in, unfortunately. The first thing you have to do when you're submitting to College Board is to put the dimensions of your artwork in the actual system. Notice that they only accept inches as their unit of measurement. The next part is materials. You have to list every single thing that you used. The part that I found confusing was the processes aspect because there weren't very many good examples of this on the internet and how to do it. So I'll try to explain it to you. For the processes part, you're trying to explain why and how you did your artwork. For example, I stated that I used various brushes in Procreate to outline and color. The first half of my 150 character paragraph is the method as to how I drew my illustration. I don't want to use the word in its definition, but you're trying to explain the process of how you came to the conclusion of your drawing. This can be as simple as painted the background red before applying black outline. Something like that. It's just very simple and straightforward. You're not trying to be abstract and creative in this 150 character box. The second half that I included in this specific example was what exactly the artwork is. I feel like it really helped my portfolio because I'll get to this later, but the writing portion of my portfolio definitely saved it because the art itself is kind of mediocre. Like, I wouldn't say it's the best art in the world, but I'm definitely proud of it. A tip that I have is in the processes, you can add a little sentence about what exactly the artwork is and why you created it. For example, I wrote it's a self-portrait about identity and culture. This will help you later because when you have the written portion of your portfolio, it'll kind of connect why this artwork relates to that written paragraph. Moving on to the second artwork. This I actually drew a long time ago. The thing about College Board is that you can submit art that you drew a while ago unless you submitted it to College Board before. This one I drew in 2019 and it's 30 inches by 15 inches, which is actually an estimate. I don't even know if that's right or not because I don't have the piece since I sold it for a fundraiser. But let's say it's 30 by 15 inches. This is getting repetitive, so I'm just going to show you the drawings actually. Work 3 is a self-portrait, or 3 self-portraits that I merged together. I'm so not well spoken today. I'm sorry. Oh, something that's worth noting is that I wrote that I utilized cross-hatching. So if you can come up with the exact or precise name of the techniques you used in your piece, that can help you as well. Work 5 is an oil pastel drawing that I did. This was also worth noting that instead of talking about how I drew this piece, I talked about how I edited the reference photos. So I wrote, I applied colored filters over my reference image to create an overlapping transparent effect. So in this case, I didn't actually say that I went in with oil pastel and I drew this specific thing there and because. Work 6, if you want to look at it, is here. But the important part is actually work 7, which is a process image. Something that I didn't know before coming into this class was that you can have process images in your portfolio. In fact, you should have process images because they show how you evolved as an artist and how you got to the final point of your artwork. Work 8 is a portrait of my brother, and then I explain the processes again and the materials, and then I say see work 6 in parentheses, which is where you can go back and reference work 6. If you want to cross reference your drawings to one another, you can. I don't think this helped me in any way. I don't think it hindered my score in any way, obviously, but work 9 is the process image for the previous work. And then something that I think is important is that I said it reveals the stage before red became so prominent in the painting. This shows that the plan of your drawing actually could change, and even if it was intentional, it's important to note that you weren't always there from the beginning. Work 10 is actually a funny story. I actually did this the day before we had to submit because I totally ran out of time because I wasn't really managing my time very well. This drawing I do like. I was gonna say I don't like, but I actually do like this drawing because it kind of reminds me of the human heart. Well, obviously it is a drawing of the human heart, but with two faces. But I'm not gonna get too into my theme because this is more of a broad video that you can refer to in the future if you're taking an AP art class. And work 11 is a process image for the previous work. And there's nothing too unique about this. I just wanted to show you the side-by-side comparison. Work 12 is the first drawing I did in the AP art class, and I actually don't like this drawing, but I included it anyway because I ran out of time. Work 13 is a digital drawing that I did that's a bit more on the realistic side. This drawing is interesting because there's a photo in it. Work 14 is my favorite process image because it shows 3 process images in one. So keep in mind that you can actually do this in your portfolio. You can collage things together to show your complete process. Another thing I forgot to mention is that the process images are there for a reason, and they're definitely there to show your revision and the change in your mindset while drawing something. So lastly, work 15 is my final piece. There's nothing too notable about this one, so I'm gonna skip past it. But before I move on to the written statements, I just wanted to mention that the order of your artworks definitely matters. For me, I personally chose to do my best artwork at the very beginning, my second favorites-ish at the very end, and everything else in the middle. So it's like your least favorite is the second to last, and it goes upwards from there. And then the bottom ends with a bang. It's your favorite, your second favorite. For the written evidence, I really think this is what saved me because I don't know about you, but my art, it's definitely not bad, but it's nothing spectacular, especially compared to the other videos on YouTube that got a 5 on their AP score. I totally think that this is what connected all of my artworks together and what made it very cohesive and nice. My response to the prompt that they gave, which was identify the questions or inquiry that guided your sustained investigation, was knowing only of my interest in creative writing and literature, I entered the field of art inadvertently. I've always found a peculiar comfort in words as opposed to illustrative mediums because within text is a definite meaning, whereas art is fundamentally interpretive. Yet, that fluidity found in art is something that always fascinated me. As I reached a certain point of maturity, my emotions outgrew my vocabulary. The familiar embrace of writing was now rigid and confined. I asked myself this: how could I use my art to contextualize the stimulus and loss of youth in a way words cannot? Wow, right? Well, I mean, not to get ahead of myself, but I consider myself as much more of a writer than an artist, and I do want to pursue writing as opposed to art in the future, which may explain why I'm so confident with what I wrote and why I think that this is totally what saved me. But I do think it's important to really spend time on your written statement as well as your artwork, because if this part is not very strong, your artwork is not going to have a cohesive theme, and that's not going to appeal to the judges of College Board. The second prompt that they give is describe how your sustained investigation shows evidence of practice, experimentation, and revision guided by your questions or inquiry. And my response was the following. My artwork engages with the idea that psychological advancements in youth, or the lack thereof, do not necessarily adhere to a timeline. I use traditional art forms alongside modern-day technology to imply continuation of time, broadening the scope of my initial inquiry. By juxtaposing digital art with my experimentation using paints, oil pastels, and ink, I was able to create something visually appealing and rich in meaning. Conclusively, through art, I overstepped the lines I had drawn within the constraints of writing in an effort to reestablish what it means to express youth and growth. So, the reason I read this aloud to you is not because I want you to copy it, but it's because I think that there are lots of important things you can learn from this. I'm not going to give specific advice unless you really need it and you want to ask me in the comments. In the future, I might respond. But I'll give you some key points that I think you need to remember when writing your written evidence. The most important thing that you need to keep in mind is that this writing portion is exactly what brings your artwork together, because as I mentioned in my actual writing, art is very subjective. It's very abstract, and you can't really decipher a meaning just by looking at it. I mean, you can, but your answer is going to be different from everyone else's because art is very interpretive. And so the writing portion is what really lays your artwork in front of the judges and tells them how exactly they connect. Anyways, as you can tell, my theme wasn't very strong. No, that's the wrong way to put it. My theme wasn't very cohesive. Like, before I wrote the written statement, you would not be able to tell why each artwork relates to one another because they're so different. But two things about this. One, obviously they need to be thematic. So you have to make sure your written statement really shows how these pieces are connected, as I mentioned earlier. And second, I feel like even though my pieces were so different, I think that helped me actually because it shows variety in your artwork and your art mediums, and it shows that you can actually experiment with lots of different art mediums as an artist. But that being said, I don't think you should sacrifice theme for variety. Anywho, this is the fun part, the 5 chosen selected works. I feel like this is really what showcases your best ability in art and writing, because you actually have a bit of a space to write your ideas other than just the processes. I think the ideas and the processes and everything is limited to 150 characters, which is a bummer, but you can do it. You can probably fit it in, because I did it. The thing about the selected works is that you can pick any artwork, not just the ones you submitted to your sustained investigation, so they don't actually have to fit your theme. So the first artwork I chose was a poster, because I was experimenting with graphic design, and I actually won the contest-ish thing that they held at our school for the official poster for the AP exhibit, which is nice. And I put this in because I wanted to show that I was trying something new. Next is the next few artworks are the exact same as you've seen before. I feel like I had a lot more to say before recording, so if I'm missing anything, again, let me know in the comments or send me an email or something. I don't know if you can do that through YouTube, but if you can, send me an email and I'll get to you as soon as I can. And that's the end of my APR video. Hope you enjoyed, hope it was helpful, and see you next time when I post probably a guitar video. Bye!